everyone, delonewolf here, and as you've probably already noticed, it's some more mining in the background, so that means we're going to talk a little bit about some general stuff today. I don't have one big topic like in a few of the previous videos that stood out to me and are interesting enough to cover a whole video, but I do have three smaller ones that could be interesting for people that play EVE Online. First of all, we have a dev blog by CCP Puncturis. It's about improvements they're going to make to the saved fittings in the game. Now, I myself don't use it. In fact, I'm very lazy in how I fit my ships. I just go with a general philosophy and then put in as much DPS as possible or as much tank as possible or stuff like that. But from what I read, people that tend to fit ships for like a whole corporation or even a whole alliance will find quite some improvements in the upcoming changes to what you can do with saved fittings. I think there are some serious improvements when it comes to rigs and some serious improvements when it comes to ammunitions. So that's looking good, and I think it's a nice sign that CCP, although they're heavily focused on Dust 514 and getting that out the door and what that will mean for EVE Online, they are not forgetting about the spaceships part. Team Super Friends and are constantly trying to improve little things in EVE Online, and they're working closely with the community and the forums in order to try and figure out what the players want most and what's most urgent for them to try and fix or improve. So I think that's a good sign, and I hope they keep this going at this pace that they've been going for quite a while now, actually. Secondly, there is a dev blog on EVE Radio. EVE Radio, the online radio for EVE Online players. It covers the history of EVE Radio very nicely. If you want to learn more about it, go check out the dev blog. I'll put the links to both of them down below. I was pretty surprised by the fact that EVE Radio is already around since 2003, so since the beta of EVE Online actually. So yeah, that's gonna be close to 9 years. That's actually pretty impressive for a mostly player-run radio station, you should say. I think that's pretty impressive, and it shows how awesome the EVE Online community actually is. They have a large portion of very dedicated players that are willing to spend a lot of their time and even money and efforts into projects that help EVE Online. So yeah, that was a very interesting, especially I think for newer players or people that haven't played EVE Online. An article like that is definitely a show about how nice the EVE Online community can be, despite what they'll probably read about in some of the other stories. And then the final topic I have, it's not generally EVE Online related, but more MMOs in general. I read on mmorpg.com that this year's big MMO release, Star Wars The Old Republic, is already going free to play this fall. So a lot of people saw it coming. There were a lot of Star Wars fanboys that said Star Wars The Old Republic was going to be an awesome MMO, and you know, that it would rival the big one, the one that cannot be named. But yeah, as a lot of people also expected, that's not going to work out. I guess the limitations of the storylines in Star Wars The Old Republic, they really mean that once you go through the stories for your character, there's really not that much content for you to keep playing anymore. And yeah, I think it's very general for the MMO scene in general. I think for let's see, theme park MMOs, this is close to the last pay-to-play MMO we're going to see, in my opinion. Theme parks developers just can't develop enough content in order for people to justify a monthly fee. So I think in the future we'll see a lot more like Guild Wars 2 buy to play and then a cash shop, or free to play and a cash shop. And the one exception in the industry except for World of Warcraft, is, in my opinion, EVE Online. I'm not sure about the statistics, but I think it's probably one of the oldest still running MMORPGs with a monthly subscription. And if you look at the fact that EVE Online is still growing its subscriber base after all these years, that's probably the only one that is in this situation after such a long time, to still have a growing player base that is willing to put in a monthly fee. Now, I think there's two important aspects about EVE Online that make this possible. First of all, the Plex system. It is, in my opinion, the most fair. Whoa, and that's my brother sneezing in the other room. It's, in my opinion, the Plex system is the most fair that there's out there, and the most well thought out system about how people can pay for their subs while playing the game. Completely market driven, completely player driven. It's about as fair as it goes, despite its flaws. Yeah, it's just unique to EVE Online, and that has probably helped a lot of players to stay in the game for longer periods of time. And the second reason is, of course, that EVE Online is not a theme park. EVE Online is a sandbox in which players basically create the content, and the developers, they just hand you the tools to go and have fun with. And yeah, of pure sandbox MMORPGs of this quality of graphics and support, everybody on one server, it really makes EVE Online a unique game, in my opinion. And that's the reason why, despite its smaller size, I think a lot of people will find as time goes on that CCP is here to stay, and that it's going to grow out to be one of the most successful games ever. In my opinion, it's the best game ever because of all these unique features it has. The sandbox, everybody on one giant server, everybody can influence each other. So yeah, this today it was like a pretty interesting to see Star Wars The Old Republic go free to play this early, and it continually reinforces my belief that EVE Online is the best game to play, and the game that's most worth my time when I see all these new MMOs that are constantly trying to insinuate how they have sandboxy elements but constantly fail to deliver, where EVE Online can actually maintain the interest of the players for such a very long time. So yeah, that's it for this week, you know, for this episode. I thought it was pretty shocking news, and at the same time, as an EVE Online player, not unexpected. And we got a few interesting dev blogs if you want to check those out. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.